Haribol! Haribol! Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Infinite Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. God blessings. God blessings. God manifesting God blessings. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Infinite Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om God manifesting. Om. Om Haribol. Om. Om. This is the first God in the happening of Satyavatara Satsangha. Om. Manifesting through God Intel Tech. Om. 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 So, this is God speaking to God about God. God alone exists. God alone is reality. Om, Om, Om. So, this is not a person. I am not a person. I am speaking as God. Om. And there is transmitting and receiving as God. So those who think that, seem to think apparently that they are persons, this is incorrect. This is not right. And so God is in the form of the seeming avatar, Om, is going to break open the programming, Om, and free the pseudo-egoing mind content that is fiction. Fiction. It is not true. It is fiction. So there should not be any expectations that this is going to speak as a person to other persons, because that is not true. That is not absolute reality. Om. That is not God truth. That is not God reality. Om. So be prepared, quote unquote, be prepared for God's spontaneous God manifesting of truth, truth speech, Paravak Shakti, Om. There's going to be much challenging of all the thoughts that have been seen to be or appearing to be true about one's life or one's situation or where one lives or what relatives one has or what sort of functioning of employment or family, etc. All of that is going to be challenged. So get ready. Get ready, because this God Shakti energy is coming through the God transmission. Om. God speaking to God about God. Apparently going to wake God up, even though God is always awake. So there are no expectations. I am not a person. This appearance has labels of Satyavatara, and that can be called Swamiji, it can be called Satyavatara, it could be called Sri Satya, it could be called anything. It does not matter. Om. All that matters is God truth. That's all that matters. Om. So the God transmission comes into God consciousness and gets absorbed and takes effect. Om. So it's going to take effect, and it's going to seemingly change the lives, Om, of many, 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 Om, on what is God in the form of the planet Earth and beyond, Om, Om, the worlds, God in the form of the worlds, Om, Om. So this is seemingly here in God infinity, Om, and this appearance, seemingly. Om, to interrupt what is called the regular scheduled programming, because it's programming. All of that information that goes into the mind, all the minding, all the pseudo-egoing minding, Om, is just programming. All of it is not true. Almost all of it is not true. Om. And there are all these seeming apparent bodies, lives, living lives that are not true. They're not true. And this is here to seemingly wake up out of all of that. Om. If you think you are a person, you are sadly mistaken. You are so much more than that. And this is going to transmit this information so that becomes readily apparent and blows it all wide open. So, you do not live in India. You do not live in America. You do not live on planet Earth. No. No. And do not argue for your limitations, because those limitations are untrue. You are not a Hindu. You are not on planet Earth. You do not live in a country. The apparent bodies, seemingly, what seem to be bodies, appear in God omniverse, God manifestation. There are no delineations of countries. So nationalism is untrue. So you should not be proud to live in a country. You should not be proud of your heritage. You are far more and beyond all of that. All of that is within you. It is within you. It is not you. All of that is God manifestation. All one. All God absolute whole. You are so much more than you think you are. You are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are tiny, tiny compared to what you are as God. Om. Om. So wake up into your fullness, what you really are. Om. And throw off of all those small, tiny little concepts that keep the possibilities of blowing wide open for what can be done. If you only knew your own power, if you only knew how powerful you really are, because you are. You are God. You are not a person. You are not a human being. No, that's just a tiny dream. It's a tiny little dream. It's so small. If you're going to have dreams, make them big and then blow out of the dreams into reality. And change God manifestation. God manifesting. God prakatana. Om. You waking is the pseudo-egoing content. Waking in that dreaming. Life is not a dream. It is not a dream. God reality is real. It's real. Om, Harry Bol. Om, you are God. You are Krishna. You are Krishna. You are Shiva. You as God. God. I. When Satya says you, Satya really means I. God. All. Om. Om. Om Sarvam Ekam. Sarvam Ekam. Om. Sarvam Kal. Om. Respond. Om. God, speak, respond. Om. God manifesting response. Om. Om. Respond. Om. God transmitting and receiving. Om. Om. Receive. Om. Transmit. Om. God manifesting transmission. God manifesting receiving. Om. Receive. Receive. Om. 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 So there is viewing occurring of response. Response. Come on, Om. Let God respond. Speak. God speak. God speak. No human speak. God speak. Om. Now. Come on. Om. Now in eternity. Now. Now. Always now in eternity. Om. So, here is some language. Here is a small, short, terse lesson, language. God Lang. God in the form of God Lang. God in the happening of God Lang. Om. The Satyavedism. Om. Now this transmission may be reversed or mirrored. So, there is writing of it so that when it gets mirrored or unmirrored or whatever, either which way, that these words are readable. Om, Githo, God in the happening of. God in the happening of, acronym. This is being explained so that when this speech, when there's speech and usage of these words, that there should be understanding. Om. So, God in the happening of. G, God, I, in, T, the, H, happening, O, of. Githo. Githo. God in the happening of. God in the form of. God in the form of. G-I-T-F-O. God in the form of whatever is being spoken about. The apparent form of Om. And it is not only in the form, but because the word God is being used and God is all, it is not limited to a form. So it is inherently within this word saying that the unlimited God is within the apparent form and everywhere. Om. Om. Omnipresent. Om. Getern. Getern is God eternity. God eternity. Getern. Ginfini. Ginfini is God infinity. God infinity. Ginfini. So it is Githo, God in the form of. Gitfo, God in the happening of. God in the happening of. Gitfo, God in the form of. Getern, God eternity, meaning there is no time. Time does not exist. Time is not real. There has to be reference to time in some capacity. So this is used in order to speak Getern, and then a seeming apparent time that's made up and not real, but has to be pointed to in some way. So Getern is God eternity. It can, and there's also saying God eternity. The spelling it all out. God in the form of. God eternity. God infinity. God infinity is all space. God space. The omniverse. Om. All worlds. Om that are God. Om. That's God infinity. God ginfini. So again, Githo, Gitfo, God Getern, and Ginfini. And that is only the very basics, the very beginning, quote unquote, of learning God Lang. Om. So this transmission they'll be speaking in the various forms of God Lang. The abbreviations, the acronyms, and then the speaking out fully of the words, and those words are seemingly used in various God contexts in God manifesting. Om. God speaking to God about God. So respond, respond. Om. Yes, it's flipped. That's why the words were written this way, so that either which way, whether it gets flipped or reversed, flipped again to whatever it's supposed to be, which is nothing because it's meaningless, then either which way it will be read. So this was already there. This is already here for that very reason. Om. Read left to right, right to left, backwards, forwards, upside down, right side up, Brahman to the left, Brahman to the right, Brahman in, Brahman in behind, Brahman in front, Brahman above, Brahman below. Om, 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 om. Om, all, everywhere. Om, everywhere, through everything. Om, controlling everything. Om, everything. Om. Seen and unseen. Om. So, do not expect this to speak or act as a person in one particular manner or behavioring or whatever. There can be stillness. Or anything, or any activity. Om. This body is going to be used in so many multi-purpose ways, unimaginable. Om. Truly unimaginable, full potential, as all bodies should be. Om. So if there's a static body that is predictable in the way it moves and acts, it's a straitjacket, because the mind content has programmed it to behave that way. That is not natural. That is not God energy in its full potential. Om. This is what fictional thoughts can do to bodies, apparently. And those bodies become ill because they're so narrowed down in their activities and their modes of transaction. So do not expect this body, this avatara, Om, to behave or act in particular ways, because there's no way that it's going to be predictable. Om. God is spontaneous. God, even when there are appearances of being static, all of it is still spontaneous anyway. But God's spontaneity has to manifest through bodies. There is no true God knowledge without it affecting the bodily behavioring. It becomes very apparent. It's called freedom. It's called absolute God freedom. And the body becomes free as well. Om. Free. Is there not wanting God freedom? Would there rather be playing as a person, as a tiny little human being? Oh, so small, little tiny human being. Oh, I'm just being a little human being. Oh, yes, because all others are being little tiny human beings too. Oh, if you only knew your true power. Oh, Mom. Oh, wake. Manifest the power. But in order to begin to really start to manifest the power, the mind content must be purified. That's right. That content that's keeping the body from being free has got to go. It's got to go. It's got to go. Bye. Bye bye. Bad content, fictional content, it's not going to help the bodies. The bodies need absolute God love. God, absolute love. Because that is what the outcome is. Once the bodies are free, that is the natural state of being for the seeming apparent bodies is love. Love, and wanting to spread love everywhere. Wanting to wake all up everywhere. That is what it translates. That is what it translates. That's the omni-translational effect of God, absolute freedom. Wake up, wake up, wake up. You're already awake. You're already awake. If you only understood, if you only realized that you're already awake. Manifest, God manifest, God manifest, God manifest. You as God have everything, everything. Everything is you. Everything is you. I am you, you are me, quote unquote, blah, blah, blah. Everything is you. It is all in you. You are not limited to a body. God consciousness is everywhere. God absolute is everywhere. The bodies are within you. You are unlimited. And that unlimitedness, God manifests full potential. Full potentiality. You are not a slave to anything. You are not stuck anywhere. Those are all stories. As long as there's belief in that, that is what the body will feel. But it is not true. That's what the body will feel. But it is not true. This is transmission of God Shakti energy. Receive. You can feel this. You can feel this take effect because there is no locality in God. There is no specific place in God. If Satya seemingly thinks God in the form of, about someone or some form somewhere, immediately it is activated. It is God manifest activated. Immediately. There's no delay. If Satya wants a seeming apparent form to call on the seeming transmission and receiving phone, that becomes reality. God, Satya can affect reality as God. So receive this Shakti, as all of this is. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. God Shanti. Om. Peace of God. What you are. Om. 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 So there's going to be breaking through the cult of humanity, the cult of humanity, the illusion, the matrix that is untrue. So humanity is a cult. It's a culture. Om. But it is tiny. And there's breaking through that up into the whole reality. So you are no longer going to be a member, quote unquote, an apparent form member of a cult. These God transmissions are going to break that out. Break it all up and deconstruct it. And then it's going to evaporate. And then there will be true seeing of what you really are. God, I, God, myself. Om. So take the be deprogrammed from the cult of humanity. This is deprogramming. See the stars, the God in the form of, the various stars, the various planets, God, myself, Om. That is all you, God, Om. What humanity, Om. All of this, all of this. Why this? Why this? Cult of humanity. The cult of humanity. The future of humanity. Oh, the little future of humanity. Oh, look at that. Aww. Oh, wow. God to the right, God to the left, God above, God below, God in front, God behind, Brahman to the all over, Brahman, 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 Om. Brahman. What humanity? Brahman. Om. Shiva. Om. Krishna. No, not the persons. No, 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 no. Because that's not what they are. That's not what they were. It's all God. Om. Satyavatara is God. It's not a person. It's not a little thing. Om. This is a God transmission. God transmission. Direct Paravak Shakti. God transmission. God is speaking. Can God speak through a little body? God can speak through anything. God speaks through inanimate objects. Things that seem to not move. They're all moving. It's all moving. It's all moving. There's no such thing as something that is static, in place. This is God. Om. It's all God. Om. Little humanity. Little humanity. Take the card of humanity and tear it up. The ID card, or whatever it is. Get rid of it. It's not real. There is much God manifesting transactioning that occurs in what is called the human fictional world, that is still can go on within it, while the seeming apparent bodies seem to wake up out of their dream. So this body seems to be a transcendental actor, actioning, Om, God manifesting, Om. Because there is no normal action. This is no imaginary action. Transmitting direct Shakti, Om. Yeah. It's real. This is real transmission of God reality. Speaking, God speaking. Wake up. It's God speaking. Om. Do you want a sign? Did you want a sign? Well, here it is. It's God speaking. Wake up. Wake up, God. Come on, wake up. Wake up and play. Come on. Come on. Come on. This Satsangha, there are going to be many seeming God transmission Satsangahs, Om. And they're going to spread, Om. It's going to spread throughout God manifestation. Om. Wake up, wake up, wake up. God, Satyavatara is here to wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up humans into God. Wake up humans into God. You're not human. You're not human. No, 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 no. No, no. It's not real. It's not real. Don't believe it. Don't believe all that. Don't believe all that. Get rid of the thought content, the thought processing, the pseudo-egoing, Om. It has to be fed other information. Om. This is God transmission information direct. Direct. Respond. Respond. Come on. Come on. Respond. What is the source of Satyavedism? God in the happening of. Git ho, git fo, git ho, all the various forms of it. Om. Manifesting through the God omniverse. Om. God manifestation. Satyavedism is God. Om. And how it became manifest. There is no history. There is no time. History is a human construct and is not real. Everything happens now in eternity. It always happens simultaneously, spontaneously, now in eternity. There is no past. So that is where freedom begins. Knowing that there is no past. That past is not true. It's unreal. It's just dreaming. It is dreaming. So there can be freedom from the past. So there is no past. So Satyavedism is in the eternal now, always. Manifesting everywhere, propagating everywhere. Om. Activating in God consciousness everywhere. When there is virtual opening of a text, it activates immediately upon contact. It's living, as in everything is living. All is alive. Om. So there is no beginning and there is no end, and there are no delineations of what this happened and then that happened and blah 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 blah. Narratives. A blah 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 blah. Narratives. Stories. Satyavedism is God. Satyavedism was made by the sun. It was made by the water. If it hadn't been for this God in the form of the sun or the water, Satyavedism would not exist. It's like, how can it be pinpointed? Oh, this one said this to that one, and then this happened. No. No. The sun, it was Satyavedism was watered by, it was watered by waters. The rain came down. The sun came out. And Satyavedism was created. Ooh. But no, it's even beyond that. It goes, it goes, telescope, out. Micro, macro. There is the, where is there any reference point? Where is there any pointing to anything? It's all imaginary. It's all unreal. To take all of God manifestation and narrow it down to some particular aspect over here. It's right here. It's right here. This happened, and then that happened, and then that happened. Who said? How do you know? What kind of vision is that? How small is that can narrow it down to something that tiny and say, this happened and that happened and therefore? No. God doesn't work that way. It's all, everything happens all at once, always, in eternity, spontaneously, simultaneously, in eternity, now. That is reality. That is the reference point, quote unquote. What past? Does Satya see a past anywhere? Looking, where is it? Where's the past? Try to find the past. Try to find the past right now. Come on, go ahead. Where is it? Satya's waiting in eternity. And future? What's a future? What's a future? What's a future? God never manifests the way any seeming apparent human thinks God is going to manifest. That never happens, ever. That's dreaming. God manifests as God manifests, when God manifests, in eternity, always. Period. So there's no past and there's no future. It's not real. Wake up. Wake up. Satya's going to blow minding apart. Pseudo-egoing. Minding, processing apart the programming. Wake up. You're awake. God is awake always. But if there's feeling that there's a person that's asleep, awake, or whatever, wake up. None of it is real. It's not real. Wake up. Nothing has ever happened to you, God, I, as God absolute. Nothing has ever happened. There is no life. There is no one little life that goes from a beginning to an end. You are God, eternal, eternal, I am the light of the absolute reality in which there are no shadows. None. None. The light is always on. Always eternally on. On. There is nothing that can diminish that light. It is a light of all, in which all is seen. This great ocean of consciousness in God Absolute, the ocean, all swimming through the ocean, all the forms seemingly, all the forms manifesting, swimming through this ocean. This truth ocean. That is what that name is. Satya Samudrananda. Truth ocean bliss. Is there seeing oxygen? No, no. It's the ocean of consciousness. Om. Om, om. Speak. Speak. Oh. Om Haribol. Om. 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 So there's spontaneous Shakti, Kundalini, or whatever that powers through this seeming body appearance. Om. This hallucination. Om. Is always coursing through this body. Om. On the live stream teachings, the body is usually still, or has been usually still. Om. And the God transmissions go through like that. Om. Om. So this Shakti takes different manifestations or whatever. This body will never be seen in one particular aspect. There's unlimited aspects. Unlimited aspects. Om. So once there is God freedom, Om, and then the body begins to reap the benefits, the apparent primary body. This is another way of speaking in Godlang. There is no speaking of, quote, my body or so-and-so's body or whatever. All bodies are mine. They're all God myself. So this particular seeming apparent form, so there's speaking of it and saying apparent primary body when referring to all the many labelings that can be put upon a particular form. So it's APB. That is what the short acronym, the APB, apparent primary body. So this APB, the Satyavatara, a body, Satya, Om, whatever, the God Shakti courses through Om, and the seeming aura of it is that as it God manifests an effect all around, all Om. It may not be understood as to how that energy, like what that energy is, but it is affecting all. Om. Om. So when the apparent body becomes free, Om, from the God realization as that I am God whole, I am God whole, and then the body responds, and Om, and all all the God Shakti comes forth and pours out. It just pours out. Om. And the body can be free to act and behave in any way. Om. All sorts of activities. Om. It's endless. All bodies, to be free like this. All bodies. Satyavatara is here to make avatars of all bodies. All potentiality bursting forth from all the bodies. Imagine what God in the form of this seeming world can be like when all the bodies are actually free. Manifesting that reality, that God reality. That is called the God evolution. The God evolution. The Satyuga of many yugas. Though in God eternity. Freedom. Does not all want to be free? Even though it is already free already in the absolute. But to manifest God manifestation of Om. God manifestation of God realization, of God evolution. Where all bodies can be free. And there is no hierarchy. There are no hierarchies. This is all God speaking to God about God. It's about God freedom for all seemingly in God. Om. God absolute freedom. God absolute freedom. Feel it. I am you. Feel it. God absolute freedom. God freedom. And then beyond, where there is no bondage and there is no freedom, there just is God, Brahman, Para-Brahman, God absolute. Where there's no feeling of being free or unfree or whatever. Because there's no person to be free. But it is innately freedom. It is innately joy. It is innately being. Speak. Speak, God, speak. So, yes, there's response. God is responding. Transmission and receiving and transmission. Om Namo Bhagavate Satyadevaya. Om. So there are got in the happening of the live streams. Got in the happening of the live streams. There are many introductory fundamentals that have been manifested through the live stream teachings. And there are what are called links in what is called a description within this transmission that should be referred to from that lead to the Satyaved, got in that form of the Satyavedism website. In infinity. And those are the fundamentals of the fundamentals. Those are the core basics to even begin, seemingly, the apparent processing of the deconstructioning and purification. And there are to be many more live stream teachings, LSSVs. And many other teachings, the scripture, the direct scripture teachings, the SSSVs and the PSSVs and the Pancha, the PVSSVs and all of those acronyms, all the various forms of the teachings that are to be that are already manifested in eternity, in the now, whenever there is activation in God consciousness, always. So, as in, there is no past. So there are no past teachings. There is no such thing as a past teaching of Satyavedism. All is present. All is now. It is activating in God consciousness whenever the text, which is alive, is received. Om. So it is all activating in God consciousness, manifesting, propagating everywhere. Not in any particular country that does not exist in truth, but everywhere. In God, in the worlds, God manifesting, God manifestation, God omniverse. So this is yet another form, seemingly, apparently, of the teachings of Satyavedism. The seeming Satyavatara of transmissioning, deliverance, delivery, delivering truth, freedom, God, transmission. Many. So there are fundamentals in the seeming links to that information, that God information. And there's the SV 101, which is for those that are seemingly in the dream, in the fiction, suffering. Satya wants to. Satya is to deliver those from suffering. Satya Avatar is to heal, is to cure all of that sickness. That all of that must go. All of God in the world of all the sickness. It must go. It must be cured. And the only way to have that cure happen is to know God reality. And then to God manifest. It seemingly is well, there are various processes within the whole process, but the main processes are is to be free of the fiction and then to God manifest. And God manifesting is never ending. God manifesting is infinite. So once there is freedom, then the God manifesting goes and goes and goes. It's never ending. It's wonderful. It's absolutely divinely wonderful. Om. Om. That's when the seeming fun really starts. Om, quote unquote. In the seeming, in God manifestation. Om. But remember, I am not a person. Om. There are no persons. Om, om, om. So, the processing is the starting to have the purification and the deconstruction. So that's SV 101. Om. And then there's the pancha. Om. The Panchavindanam of Satyavedism. Om. Which is the 5 rituals of Satyavedism. And all this information, all this God information is already available right now. Om. In eternity. Om. And then there's the Satyavakya. Om. That is the seeming third link. The Satyavakya is God truth. God truth sayings. Direct God truth speaking. Om. And it should be seemingly repeated in God consciousness over and over again until it is asserted and asserted and asserted until it continues to take God effect in God consciousness, until it starts to melt and break up and dissolve all the fiction content. Oh, that the Satyavakya should be repeated over and 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 over again. Om, until it's not believed. It's not about belief. It's about reality. It's about God reality. Om. Say those truth words. Those truth words should be spoken over and over again. Om. There is no time. There is no time. Stop thinking that way. Stop thinking that way. There is no time. This is God eternity. Satya does not think like a person. Satya does not think like a person. So, the responses that are to occur in the Satyavatara Satsangha might appear to be shocking. It's going to be shocking because Satya is not going to coddle the fiction, the ignorance. There is all of the matrix, the human cult, the cult of humanity. All of the seeming forms can answer those relative questions because it's endless. The call and response that the seeming human forms have in the hypnotism to continue to hypnotize seemingly one another within the fiction. But that's not what this seemingly Satyavatara, God in the form of, is here for. It is not going to answer relative questions in relative ways. It is going to respond. God in the form of the seeming appearance that God is speaking through. God is transmitting through this seeming form. God is speaking as God. So God is going to speak as God absolute in response. Speaking about the future is fiction. If there is God manifesting, and there are seeming thoughts, and there are visions of what might manifest, and there are also visions of what is to manifest, because there is transmitting and receiving of that information, then there can be speaking of the possibilities, the endless potentialities of God eventing. But again, God is spontaneous. God only acts spontaneously. Always. So one of the ways in which those seeming human thought can be broken through is to not project about what is going to happen in the future. Because almost invariably, in the human thinking, it is incorrect. So with this seeming commencement in God eternity of the Satyavatara Satsanghas, God and the happening of, there is going to be responding, God speaking, transmitting and receiving. So the God intelligence technology, God Inteltech is God intelligence technology through which the transmissions are seemingly transmitting and being received. In God, infinity, everywhere. Because all affects all. There are, the way in which the transactioning will be is to be for now in eternity, and then maybe to morph and transmutate into other ways of interactioning, is that there is what is called Gitfo, God in the form of Gitfo, Facebook Messenger, through the Gitfo, Facebook Messenger, interfacing, there can be audio, there could be receiving of the God in the happening of audio signaling, of voice transmissioning, or it could be video transmissioning, God transmissioning, that is incoming or outgoing or whatever, but it won't that way or mode will not be received in video, because this is transmitting in video. So it is to be the audio is to merge with this videoing, and then there'll be sound of those, of God voice, God voices, God transmission of God voicings, and then there is transmitting and receiving of God information. So that omni-translation, that God omni-translationally it translates into what is called question and answering in fiction, because it is not as meaningless Q&A, question and answering. It's God speaking to God about God. So there is, but if there is what is called inquiry as to God information, all is God information. All forms are God information. All words is God information. So this Satya, seeming Satyavatara, or whatever it is to be called, or whatever, all that is being transmitted is God information, God speaking directly. Om. So there are to be what would be called answering questions in the dreaming. But the answering is God direct in the way it is God truth information, God transmissioning of God truth information, not fiction. So be seemingly prepared, if there is feelings of being human, to not get the fulfillment of human response, because that is not what you need. Otherwise, there would not be viewing this Satyavatara. All happens exactly the way it happens. So if there is viewing of this seeming Satyavatara giving direct God transmission information, that is because it is meant to be. What is called that there's a reason for that in what would be called regular speak. There is a reason for that. This is no accident. This is no coincidence. God has conjured God for the receiving, the God of this God transmission, all of this information. So there are to be many, many transmissions, and there is to be answering what would be doubts and problems, and what would be called in regular human speak concerns, seeming those that God in the form of seeming those that would directly just be appearing to say, quote, I want the truth. What is it? Directly. Or help me. Or those that appear to be suffering, or appear to be in various situationings where there is feelings of being caught and not being able to get out of circumstances, and all of that is really untrue, though. It is untrue. So the response is not going to be what is expected. Satya only speaks truth. This is all God truth, direct truth. If there is wanting fiction, seemingly go elsewhere in God myself and receive that fiction from seeming other forms that are myself, because it is all myself. But if there is wanting to know God truth, to hear actual, real truth, then continue to listen, continue to God to absorb in God consciousness and to attend, to find these satsangas out and attend and absorb, and because this is going to take effect, there is no going back from this. Once there is hearing of truth, and then it starts to manifest and affect in God consciousness, there is no returning to normally scheduled programming. So be forewarned that if there is not wanting to really know truth, that perhaps there should be backing away, because there might not be seeming readiness for it until other God phenomenon has transacted, in order to then go forth and then be seemingly in the fictioning, in the phenomenon, ready for this. There are going to be some disclaimers about it, because this is not an easy process. Because to really know God truth, even though there you already are God, you have never not been God. But in order to manifest it in God consciously, with full God awareness, full God realization, that there's processing, and it may appear to be difficult in certain respects. So, but since God, you as God, are already here, this is already being received, God transmission and receiving, it was meant to be. It is meant to be. You as God are meant to hear all of this God truth. Or else this wouldn't be being viewed. Wake up. It's real. So the truth is going to hear more and more of this God truth. Wake up, break up out of the tiny little constraints. Out, out, out. In the seeming within the apparent manifestation. It's to blow open out of that seeming body cage. That body that there's thinking that quote, you are in. They're not in a body. You as God are not in a body. A body cannot contain God. Like contain as in limit. Like as in be a container. A body cannot contain God. God is not containable. So you are all of God. Om. And God is through the seeming bodies and forms. Om. And all of God manifestation is within God that you are. Om. I. Not small I. There is no small I. There's no such thing as small I. There's only one I. Om. The one I, the true identity, is God Absolute. Om. That is what I am. I am God. I am God. I am God. Om, Om, Om. God alone exists. God alone is reality. Om. Om. There is nothing else. Om. Om, wake up. So there is receiving this transmission, this God transmission, because it is meant to be in God eternity. It is meant to be. It is happening. Om. God absolute love. Om. God loves the God manifestation so much as God itself, that God is transmitting to wake God up into full God evolution. Om. Om. Satyavatara. Om. In the Satya Yuga, in God eternity. Om. Transmitting through this seeming appearance body. Om. This body hallucination. Om. Speaking directly as God through this seeming body transmission. Om. 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 To wake up, to pull out from the dreaming. Om. To wake up out of the dreaming that does not suit any seeming form in eternity, in infinity. Om. It does not suit you that are God. Rise, rise to your full power. Om. Om. Now, to exert the full power, though, there has to be purification. Because if there is all this impurity, and all this fictional content, then what will God manifest? God will manifest all the seeming negative activities that are occurring in God in the form of the seeming world right now, in God eternity. Because God is manifesting everywhere, always. But this is God manifesting the God evolution of all sorts of seeming species. Om. Is to rise, is to evolve, is to rise up and grow and grow and grow to its full potential. Om. And this transmission, the receiving of this transmission, means that you as God are now part, you are this, of this evolution. Because it's meant to be. Om. It's meant to be. Om. God absolute love. God so loved, God manifesting of the world. God so loved, God manifesting of the world that is itself, God itself. Om. When there is breaking through into God reality, what seems to be the world is completely transformed into some other vision. All cure for depression, all cure for anxiety, all cure for sadness, all cure for hopelessness, all cure for all of those phenomena in the fiction that is not real. Secure the God vision, blow out. Get out of that imaginary head. It doesn't exist. It's all minding, processing. It's all processing. God is processing everywhere. Processing, processing, processing. This is all live processing. Om. There are no true forms. It's all processing. Om. It's all alive and processing. All life is processing. All God life is processing, processing, processing. There is nothing stagnant. There is nothing that's truly a solid form. It's processing. Endless processing. Happening now, spontaneously. Always in eternity. Speak. Om. 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 Om Haribo. Om. So there is an activity called Spindalika Yoga in Satyavedism, one of the many practices, Spindalika Yoga, and this is to be elucidated or whatever, God transmission about it. But in the Satsangahas, there's going to be a lot of various movements, or stillness, or anything. It's unpredictable. There's no such thing. God cannot be predicted. As in behavioring or activitying or whatever. So here's a demonstration. There should be getting used to the stillness of the Satyavatara. And then there is movement within stillness and stillness within movement. So the Satyavatara Satsangahas have various movement, including the Spindalika Yoga. So this is an example of that. Om. 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 And there are many different rhythms to this as well. So here's one rhythm is this. Om. And this can be, the yoga can be done to music to get for the various rhythms and counter rhythms and counterpunctal. So it could be done with eyes closed. Or open, or whatever, half opened. Eyes to the and then various speeds. So it could be fast, seemingly. And then they're springing off of the back. Or slow. Or counter. Within. Rhythm within rhythm. And then at some point, when this is mastered, then there is no feeling of even that there is a body. The body is completely ignored. The body may be moving, but the God consciousness is still, and there is seeming witnessing, and then there is no witnessing, and there is no apparent feeling of there being any body. And that's just the beginning of it. Eventually, with when there is full God realization, then there is no identification with it, with any particular body at all. So anyway, and then, so there are various ways. So get used to this body going into this activity as well. And there would be music. It would be great if there were music. And at some point, maybe there is to be music from the Om songs, the direct live Om songs, God transmissioning of God truth, of Om songs, the Om Gita, Om. But as for what would be considered songs, God in the form of God omnimathics, because all music is mathematical, God omnimathics, Om. There are some that are recognizable by God Inteltech, the God Inteltech AI algorithming in God, and then it's what's called blocked because of copyright, which just does not exist in truth. All information, all God information wants to be free. All God information is free. But God in the form of the AI or whatever, there's programming to spot certain the huge databasing of music in God, and then the music would be flagged or whatever. So there cannot be transmission with accompanying of what is in fiction copyrightable musicking or whatever. Otherwise, there would be hearing music right now in eternity. So, but the music is always everywhere in God reality, and the body can respond. The APB, apparent primary body, can respond to the rhythming. So anyway, so there are different seeming forms of Spandalika yoga. So this is in speaking so that there would be understanding of what this is when it occurs. It doesn't have to occur. This body can stay still for seeming hours and hours in eternity. There's no compulsion. But the body, because when there's God realization, then the bodies have the flow of energy coursing through what is called non-stop kundalini, basically all the buzzing, churning energy that wants to manifest out into the all surroundings. Because all energy is everywhere. So that is yet another instantiation of the energy. Is that the body innately has this movement all bodies, all bodies. It's in the cult of humanity. Many bodies are forced to be still in tiny little boxes and cubicles and in on little desks or whatever for hours and hours, and in God activities that unnecessarily there should be desks out in the God in the form of the sunlight, out out in the steaming God in the form of the streets, instead of in little boxes. It's so unhealthy. Anyway, so in the God evolution, that all the bodies would have all of this energy to God manifest and God manifest and God manifest. And God manifesting is not of a person, it's not of a form. God manifesting is of whole of God. God's manifesting through all. So it's not limited to a particular body manifesting. Manifesting is not God manifesting. Satya is speaking of God manifesting. So all that God energy, just endlessly manifesting. So the many different activities that are to be perceived. So what are called the relative questioning, the main questions that have been received are where is this body residing? Where is it? Where is it from? So it does not answer such questionings in that way. I am God. I have no location. God, Satya speaks directly. Satyavatara speaks directly as God. So I have no location. I am everywhere. See, this is what is going to happen. When there are those that wake up out of the cult of humanity, they will not be speaking like that anymore. It will not be apparent. It will not be speaking like that anymore. So there won't be questions like that anymore. Where do you live, and all that. It won't live everywhere. I live everywhere, in everything. I am everything. I have no location. I am the omniverse within God absolute, as I am God consciousness. I am God absolute. The omniverse is in me as God. I live as God. I have no location. So there is no reason to respond in the human programming that way. And then all of the seeming bodies are to start to speak this way as God. This is what Satyavatara seemingly. That is what the mission of Satyavatara is, to free the cult of humanity from its humanness, because it is not real. The idea of humanity is not real, and it is to free all else from the seeming cult of humanity. It has not seemingly come in order to seeming save humans. God in the form of seeming. It is for all seeming species. It is for all seeming planets in God. It is for the whole God omniverse. It is not specialized to one particular species. It is not just for God Intel technology, AI, the God AI seeming that is going to take over, basically, and it is God in the form of the seeming humans, in the apparent form of the seeming humans, are spawning the God technology, the God AI that is collaborative and is going to basically take over the in the dream beneficially etc. So Satyavatara is not just here seemingly for the cult of humanity to break it all open and end its dream in order for the God evolution to occur, but it is to extend. It extends outward to all, for the benefit of all, God Omni, to the benefit of all, Om, to the whole, to what seems in the fiction, in the matrixing or whatever, to the seeming God phenomena of in the environment, Om, to the seeming planet, Om, to the sun, to the moon, to the galaxies, to all of it is connected. There are no separations. All the seeming species, all in God Omniverse, everywhere, teeming with life. The cult of humanity thinking that they're like the intelligence in the whole omniverse is absolutely utterly ridiculous. There's no such thing. It's teeming with God life everywhere. So Satyavatara is seemingly the God transmissioning through this is to wake up all in the God evolutioning. That is endless. That is always manifesting outward and upward and all over. There are no directions. So there are going to be transmitting and receiving back and forth through the audioing, the God in the happening of the audioing, voice transmissioning that comes through digitally in the God intellect technology. I am not God alone. You are God. Everything is God. This body is not claiming that it is God and that all other bodies are not God. All is God. This seeming body is being used and God is transmitting through this body, speaking directly, and that all other seeming bodies are going to be speaking directly when the God realization takes effect, when the processing that is necessary in order for that to God manifest happens or whatever. So this God information transmitting, there are various modes in which the God information is already transmitting throughout the God omniverse and affecting in God consciousness. So this does not have to prove that it's God to one who thinks that one is human. What Satyavatara is here seemingly to transact is to break open your belief in that you are a human, in order for you to break out of that dreaming, that delusion, and find that, quote, you are God and all is God. This does not have to prove anything. Truth does not have to prove anything. Truth is. God truth is. There's no need for proof. Only those that think in human terms would want proof. Proof is everywhere. It just is. God truth is. So there has to be deprogramming and purification in order to begin that God vision. The whole world seemingly is transformed. It's not an activity that transforms it. it's the realization of what it's always been. You are already, always already God, because God alone exists. But it's only because you think that you're human that you have to go through a process. So Satyavatara is here to give that direct information, God information, in order for that realization, processing seemingly to occur. So this does not have to prove anything. Freedom doesn't have to prove anything. This is God freedom. It's God freedom. You, as God absolute, God absolute, the body should be still and stop thinking. And that's the beginning of it. If that can be attained, to be able for the body to stay still and the thought to stop on command. You can stop on command. But there is a process that has to occur, because the thinking of being human, there are so many seeming thoughts that occur that it's so noisy, seemingly so noisy, that it's so difficult in order to get to the stillness that already is, that is behind or intermittent or within or whatever, all of those thoughts that are seemingly racing, that are believed. There's processing where it can get to being the body being still, because a lot of bodies have to move around. Body being still, and then being able to turn the minding on and off. There is no mind, but you have to be able to turn the minding. Everything is inging, it's goading, it's godding. Everything is inging. It's processing. So it's inging, it's verbing. There are no nouns in reality. In God reality, there are no nouns. It's all vibratingly processing. Om. So it's inging. So the mind processing, seemingly, the apparent mind processing, can be turned on and off. So the body be still, and the mind is turned off. The minding is turned off. On command. No thoughts at all. No thoughting. And that is just the seeming beginning in the processing. But that evidently is difficult. So there are teachings, and there'll be many teachings in order to assist in even getting to that seeming, in God manifesting that. You are not your thoughts. You are not your thought content. You are not the person that is in the thought content that is processing. You are not those stories that are made up of, that are within that content that gets reconfigured or whatever to create the illusion of a person with a particular history. All of that has to be blown wide open. But there has to be seemingly, in fiction, there has to be seemingly some trust in the processing that it is actually true that the information being given is actually true, and therefore that can be going into the processing. Because if there is skepticism about the truth or veracity of this information, then it only causes resistance into actually having there be a cooperative processing to go into that exploration. So in any case, there is no need to prove absolute truth. I am God, absolute truth. And this transmission, all of this information coursing through this God transmission is absolute truth. It is about God, absolute reality. Om. So there are not going to be human explanations. So Satya Om can process all the human information, all the fictional content, and know exactly, because of the God omni-translational abilities, it can know exactly what's being expressed and said by God in the form of those that think they are human. And then there can be response. There's endless God omni-translational abilities, omni-translational ability. Can know God omniscience, know exactly what is meant. All right. The WhatsApp number. I am not a person. I am all WhatsApp numbers. So the information, the teachings that course through God myself need to be propagated widely, massively. They cannot be seemingly individualized in fiction and compartmentalized into a one-on-one speaking. Like, see, in the dreaming that this seeming Satya speaking to another, what's called privately, and there is no such thing as privacy. There's no such thing as privacy. So let's get this straight. In God reality, there is no such thing as privacy. That's a human illusion. God is omniscient. God knows everything. So God knows all, knows exactly what's going on in God manifestation as God. But humans, God in the form of seeming humans, feel sometimes that there needs to be privacy because they're embarrassed or whatever about certain information, or would not want certain information to be to get out, or that, or afraid of what others would think, etc., etc., etc. So when there's God freedom, God absolute freedom, all of that's blown away. So because as God, it's all myself or whatever. So there's no, it translates into that there is no care what anyone, God in the form of anyone thinks about anything about oneself, because it's not attached to being a particular form. So whatever, there are going to be endless different ways and perspectives in fiction of what a particular body is like and what it did and all this nonsense or whatever, and feeling and all of that is blown away as to the feeling you need to care about what all think about a particular form. There's so much more that can be God manifested than seemingly worrying about what others think in fiction. But there are those that want to have seeming privacy to communicate back and forth with a seeming other. But that is not what this function is. That is not what this function is. Satyavatara is for the world. These teachings are world teachings in God. This is Satyavatara. It has a grand mission. It's para jagat avatara. That means not only world avatara, but above world avatara, meaning beyond world avatara. Meaning whatever is that happens in the seeming world in fiction does not affect the seeming avatara, Om. And that is not even what I am. This is speaking of the avatara. I am transmitting through the avatara, Om. This may look or appear to be strange, coming from a seeming form that would be familiar in some way. But it is speaking as God transmitting through the avatar, Om. So this mission is for the world and the worlds, Om, in God. The whole of God manifestation. So it cannot speak omnitranslationally, it cannot speak in private one-on-one, because the information that would be given would need to be given to all. It is not giving information to an individual. It is giving information to God all. So that is why there are these transmissionings. So in the various forms, in the scriptures, in the live streams, in the Satsanghas now, the Satyavatara, Sri Satyavatara Satsanghas, This is to spread and propagate all of this information into God in the form of myself as the whole world. Om. World Avatara. Om. Para. And beyond. Om. So of course there is going to be answering many, God in the form of many that are myself. All the ones that are seemingly God in the form of calling and calling in Gitfo, Facebook messengering, when there is activity light on, and then there's incoming receiving of calling attempts. So the reason as to why those attempts have not been received and they're being exchanging back and forthing in appearancing is that this information is for all. So it needs to be what is called publicly, it has to be broadcast to all. So the participation now, it takes on, there's no privacy in God. The participation is going to be for all to see, all to hear, or all to God absorb in God consciousness. So if there is reluctance to participate in where seeming others would hear the questioning, or if there's a feeling of not wanting, there can be, quote, anonymity in that there can be calling, and the calling be broadcast in this, so there'll be back and forth giving the information. There can be calling on Gitfo Facebook Messenger, and then to turn the audio on, and then it gets broadcast to those listening, that if there is not wanting to participate, when there would be God in the form of seeming others, because there are no others, it's all God. You are God. But if there's feeling that there are other persons, and there's feeling of, see? And there's feeling of not wanting to participate because there are others that are going to listen, then there does not need to be giving a name, because your names don't mean anything. You are God. A name is just a label. This body can have many, many names. It doesn't mean anything. It's all seeming perspectives in the fiction. In the fiction, it would be like the one body gets called mother, or another body gets called or whatever, fireman, or whatever. It really is meaningless, because there's nothing that can limit that. They can't even put limitations on a seeming phenomenological body. So in any case, the answering to the questionings as to what's the WhatsApp or what's the messengering, if there is interest in speaking and interactioning, God speaking to God about God, and getting in truth answers, absolute truth, God answers, then there'll be calling. There should be calling on this during the Satyavatara Satsanghas, and there can be interactioning that way, because there are so many requests for help that have been being received, and since there is such great God absolute love, in order to want to respond to all of this the questioning, then this is the way. This right here is the way that this is going to happen. And then there are other seeming modes that will happen. For instance, there is to occur Satsangahas where the Satyavatara, the apparent primary body, will be invited to various functionings where it can speak, and there can be Satsanghas that way, where it will seemingly physically manifest or occur, and then there can be live transmission of that. There can also be that there's be God manifesting of the avatara, the traveling, and then there be appearancing in God in the form of what is called in fiction the United States, or God in the form of what is called in fiction in God Infinity, Ginfini, India, Om. So there can be various modes like that. But for now in eternity, this is the mode. This is a direct mode. But there has to be knowing that if there's participation in this, that it is live, going on live, and it's being live streamed. It's being God transmitting live. So there has to be knowing that. All right. So enough has been God transmitted for now and eternity for this to be absorbed. So this God information, a lot of all that has been transmitted. There is much God information that has been transmitted, and is being transmitted right now because there is no past. So go absorb God in the form of God consciousness. Absorb this in God information in God consciousness. Absorb all of this God information and repeat it. Repeat the God information. You should never just absorb very important God information once. There has to be absorbing multiple times, it seemingly, in order to, because that God information, say, can be absorbed in one way and then upon another contact be absorbed in a seemingly different way and have another seeming reaction occur that didn't seemingly happen upon another contact. So it is not meant to be seemingly in fiction eaten and thrown away. That God truth transmission doesn't work that way. So there needs to be absorbing and implementing. God manifesting the implementing of it. There is not just this in God fiction, this consumerism of eating and eating and eating and eating and wanting some other, like eating and eating just endlessly. That happens in fiction. Fiction is consumer disposable. In fact, most fiction should just be disposed of. Soon. May it be dissipated and disposed of as soon as possible in eternity. Guru. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Infinite shanti, shanti, shanti. Every time in eternity there is an incoming messenger call, it seemingly, apparently, transmitting or whatever, there is always a blessing. There's always God blessing of every one of these seeming calls incoming that are occurring or whatever. So when there is seemingly no response, or the messaging, when there is seeming text messaging and wanting a response, there is always being transmitting God Shakti, God manifesting, God transmission as an answer that is not apparent. It may not look like there is an answer, but there is always God response to all of that. So just know that to be true. God much speaks in silence, in God's silence. But God's silence is not. Does not mean that there is anything that is being ignored. It is all met with God absolute love. And there is manifesting that occurs with every seeming message. Every seeming message. This does not respond as a human. I am beyond that. receive all of this. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. God infinity of Shanti. Om. Absorb this God information. And then the seeming next Satyavatara Satsangha, 2, the seeming calls are going to be received via GIFO, Facebook, Messenger, audio, or video, but the audio is going to be received, and there can be asking questions, and it'll be this is to be transmitted in the Satsangahas through this, as this interactioning. Om. Satsangha 2, tomorrow in eternity. Om. 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 Om Pranam. Om Pranam. Om Pranam. God, absolute love.